Me personally, I'm very big into dreams. Dreams is a big portion of my life. And just being able to impact any form of dream logic into my art was very important for me. My name is Etubi Onucheyo, aka Mumu Illustrator. I'm a visual artist working both digitally and traditionally, mainly focused on painting. Everybody drew when they were kids, but I was lucky enough to reach a point where when I was going to study in uni, I told my dad I was going to study economics. He was fine with it, but he was like, bro, your economics scores are not bad at all. Oh. Even your math scores are not bad. You're not failing. But the problem is that these mathematicians, they found their way into economics. And I'm not sure you're ready to be solving the X, the Y. He said, I basically just been passing art all my life. And he'd rather support me something that seems like it's easy for me, rather than have me struggle to make a living because of doing a course I don't like. I'm a strange mix because I went to art school. I went to university in Enugu. I studied fine and applied arts, but I love the digital art I do. I learned from YouTube. So there's that self-taught portion of myself, but there's also a formal education. My degree is in fine and applied arts. It was mainly the people, because I met a lot of wonderful people. A lot of artists that I'm very happy that I can still talk to today. That I'll send a message and they will respond to me. And also, one of the only things that I say that I benefited is that I learned how to read art. I learned how to read art. I learned how to look at art and oh, this is what this person is trying to say, or rather, this is what I see, or this is what I'm reading from the piece. So art school, that's basically art school for me. Just meeting beautiful fellow people that inspired me to be better, and then also learning how to read art. Originally, because of, let's call it pride, I didn't think that there was something called Afrosurrealism. But obviously, nothing's new under the sun. But me personally, I'm very big into dreams. Dreams is a big portion of my life. And just being able to impact any form of dream logic into my art was very important for me. There are two experiences I have about Afrosurrealism, where this was when I first got into uni. I met a local king in Nasara, and he was like, I should try. He saw my sketchbook and he was like, I should try and do more local Nigerian stuff to push, to be aware of where I'm from. And then I met another artist. I don't know what he calls himself now, but I always remember him as Collide Prime. He said the goal is local content, international standard. And I tell myself stories. As I'm working, and then a lot of times it just somehow links to what I'm going through at the point in time. Like there's a piece I have, or it's not here anymore. We thank God that one is in, where is that one? That is in Scotland. I was doing a piece where there was this lady standing on, or rather floating above a tree, and the tree is man-shaped in sort of worshipping the lady. And I was like, and at that time, there was this babe I was chasing. And even though it didn't work out with us, I still had to, acknowledge that she was that's the kind of love that I wanted to be, in sense of I want to meet a goddess that I'm willing to worship. So it's random. I tell these stories are random, but it's always fun. It's always a story I'm telling myself as I'm going through, and helps me explain the art eventually. But most times it just also depends on what brought about it. Because most times these days, I haven't had time to really ingest media. What I really enjoy, what I consume now is audiobooks and music. So that's what really fuels my art these days. So I could just be listening and I hear one really cool lyric and it just sparks this thing. There's one piece there, it's called Wired. It's is the biggest one. I said the song says something about maybe it's just the way I'm wired, because he's complaining about how life is. This thing is hard, whatever. But he feels like it's the way he is that's his problem, and sometimes that also I also feel that way in sense of like, is it my own is it my own issues? Am I the problem? That kind of thing. And is this one this the wired because is when I broke it when I was as I usually I was telling myself stories. By the time I was done like breaking it down and like really feeling how it was really I felt it was it's more of, I felt like at the time when Magnus Opus is one the piece I was working on that inspired me to actually start planning an exhibition. So it's like it's really just me talking about me trying to, because I don't like, apart from Afrosurrealism, I also like to I don't like talking about my feelings. It's something that like, so I try to put everything in the painting in the sense of like, oh, this and they don't have to nobody has to know, but this is me just trying to say the things I don't want to talk about. And it helps me, it's really like therapy for me, because well, that's one of the things I've learned with art. art art can be so therapeutic for me in the sense of like talking my way through the painting and like the process. It helps me process a lot of stuff, heartbreak to whatever. Darkness with small light. Well, because so I used to, if you note in most of my pieces now, there's always like a light source or a sun of some sort, either above the characters or within the piece. I didn't used to care about that. But my brother saw my pieces once and he was like, it's almost as if that piece in particular, I didn't put any hope in it. I didn't put any hope, it was just completely bleak. So I like the idea of like just making sure that there's a little bit of hope, even no matter what subject I'm tackling. Let there be a little bit of hope in that, like there's a light they are looking forward to, or there's a very powerful light source in the piece. For example, the last painting I did, Days of Thunder, I heard the song in one of my friend's cars. I heard the song in one of my friend's cars, and it was so, I felt it so deeply because he was singing about love is this, love is this, is that, and then he was like, bro, move your hips. I was like, bro, I'll deal with you. I'm moving the hips. And then I had this idea of just like having somebody dancing in thunder. So I would usually just like start with like sketches, and I trying to plan the composition of how I want it to look. And then from there, by the time I've planned the composition, I would know what elements I now need to research on, like the masks or the masquerades or the poses themselves. Then I'll do sketches, take reference poses, whatever, and then just do those sketches, then do color sketches, either digital or traditional, and then hit the canvas. I'm actually really scared of painting. It's crazy. I know people don't understand. Like I've done murals of like 30 feet wide and like 18 feet high. But when it comes to paintings, like I have to make a statement. There's something I want to say, and it makes me feel like it puts a lot of pressure. I put a lot of pressure on myself when it's time to actually paint. So I'm trying to right now. I'm trying to conquer that fear. I'm trying to conquer that fear of like doing paintings, because it's not something I've not done before, and I've grown as a painter and I've grown as an artist. So I'm trying to break down all the fears that I have in my system. I still enjoy digital because of there's no need to wait for paint to dry. But and also one of the things that really scares me, especially with acrylic, is wet paint is different from dry paint. Like the paint on the canvas when it dries is totally different from what you're seeing in the palette. So digital saves me in the stress of like, oh bro, don't worry, just keep changing. You can change color how much you want. You don't need to worry about overworking the canvas or whatever. Just do what you gotta. But I'm just trying to break fear. One of the things I want to do is just push mental health, because of me myself. As I said before, I'm trying to do escapism, but like just trying to put the word out there that, like, mental health is a serious issue, but also put beautiful things out there. And then also, another thing I really believe in is tattoos. Obviously, you guys can see that, like, because in the past, us as Africans, we have our own forms of marking. We have our own forms of marking ourselves. And I want to not really champion, but like bring a new wave of like Africans remarking themselves and say, like, bringing back our own symbols back into the forefront in CBD, all those things. Like, just trying to bring back what was there before, bring it back anew. Bro, focus. Because I love when I started, I wanted to do everything. I tried 3D, I tried background designs, I tried character design, I tried comics. I was trying everything and I wanted to be a one-man army. But then slowly you realize that, like, you can't be everything. And the arts industry is so large that you can choose whatever you want to be. You can just it's better when you specialize. Find out what you like and just specialize in that. I can't say the names because I've signed NDA, but the book you guys saw me that I'm working on, I have two. There's one. There are two. There's another book I worked on. I can't wait for them to announce it. I did the colors for that one, and I also did a cover for another book for the same company. But like, that's just then in terms of exhibition, my own personal exhibition. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but considering now is Duhu. But and then I think, no, mainly just my exhibition. Hopefully, look forward to that. My own paintings and stuff like that. But like, I also have exhibitions that are coming up. Eternal Sunshine. I'm doing that with somebody I've worked with before, Jonathan, and a bunch. It's a group exhibition. We're doing that together. And you just watch out for my books.